I'm on the road, I've been living in the fast lane. And I've been trying to grow, I've been thinking about my past ways. Back when I was broke, they was looking at me mad strange. They were counting me out, now they count on me now. Hey, count on me, count on me, count on me, yeah. Count on me, count on me, count on me, yeah. Hey, they were counting me out. Now I am the one and they count on me now. Hey.
Don't tell me nothing if you never been about it. All the hating and the doubting, yeah, been around it. I feel the vibe out, know I can't be tied down, so I had to ride out. Did it for myself, no matter how they felt. Broke out of my shell, now I'm doing well. Way better now the dead, way dead and gone. Now they trying to hit the phone, but I move forward to another episode. I ain't falling for that cap talk, like they typing with the caps lock. I ain't with the flashy fast talk, I just keep it moving like the city hit the next spot. Level up with my day ones, faded from the fake ones. Ran out of patience, waiting for the time, so I had to hit the cruise. Doing as I choose, now I'm doing what I do. I'm coming through.
Okay, I think we are live. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival. My name is Casey Huynh. I am the programming coordinator here at PATH, and today I'll be moderating today's Q&A with the filmmakers and guests from our shorts program, Southeast Asian Tracks, which I curated. We'll be taking audience questions, so please submit your questions into the comment section. Can all of our filmmakers and guests please introduce yourselves? We can start with Mama Ian.
Okay. So my name is Jiale Hu, and I'm a filmmaker now based in Shanghai. And Mama Yan was the film that was actually my first film. So I'm very honored to be here. It was conducted when I was at the University of Notre Dame for my last year. And it was about the story of a friend who was a dining hall worker there, who also fled the Vietnam War at the age of 13. So it was about her journey as a previous refugee, but more so a journey as a mother to the people around her, wherever she makes her home. So that's me, yeah.
Couldn't hear you, so I'm going to jump in. I'm Melody Mercer. I am the producer, director of Journeys to Freedom, which is the story of four remarkable people who journeyed from Vietnam after the fall of Saigon, came to America or came to Canada and then to America with nothing in their pockets, and now are just there. I consider them all friends, which made it an interesting project to work on. Although I have produced films before. I'm also on the board of the Philadelphia Vietnam Veterans Memorial, and this was produced for the memorial specifically because the memorial's motto is a duty to remember. So the goal here is for people to really understand the war, maybe from a very different perspective after seeing this.
Oh, we can't hear you. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so my name is An Lee. Currently, I'm a practicing dentist in the Philadelphia area. I'm happy to be here to share or to answer any question you might have. I'm one of the subjects in the documentary film Journeys to Freedom. It's about the how the refugee from Vietnam got to America after the fall of Saigon in 1975. So I'm honored to be here to answer any question you might have. Thank you.
My name is Nguyen Nigo, and I was filmed by Mr. Mercer, I guess, maybe, was introduced by one among of the Vietnam veterans, and he introduced her and me to her, both sides, and we met and then we talked. After that, she filmed me. My full name will be Nguyen Viet Ngo, Viet like a Vietnam, for my middle name. I was served in the service for 8 years. And after the fall of Saigon, they asked us to be lined up and be in jail, but they use abusing term, the re-education camp. Actually, it should be called concentration labor hall labor camp. And I was there in the concentration hall labor camp for 3 years, 3 months, 26 days. That's what I count. I may be wrong for 1 or 2 days, but that is the date I count, and I still remember. After they let me go out, not for the release completely like a free man, just because when the Chinese troop attacked the North Vietnam in the late of 1978. But as you're aware that the communist people, they don't announce anything. And when I was there in the camp, concentration hall labor camp in the north, and they removed me from the north to the south, but because the large of volume of people to be transferred from the north to the south, and I was the last group, and they don't have any more means to transfer me to the different camps, and no place for me and the other like 50 or 60 people. We received the exist paper so we can get out to the family for 20 days, only 20 days. After the 20 days, I have to report it back to the concentration concentration hall labor camp. During the 20 days, I planned to escape, and I was a boat people, if you can recall the term of the boat people, challenge the death over the sea, and I was lucky to succeed it, and I was sponsored to be in the U.S. because I was serving in the service for 8 years, and my last rank was the first first lieutenant. When I came over here, believe it or not, you may laugh at me, but that is the truth. I spoke no English when I was in the west of the South Philly, and one man come out, and for first day, I landed in the U.S. soil in the night time, and in the early morning I walk out and I met a man over there, and he asked me, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I don't know. I just translate simply what is up, and I look it up on the sky. And he laughed at me just like you guys laughed at me, and said, "Get away, get out of here." And I feel so bad. I don't know why. He just asked me to get out because this is the free land. And after that, about 2 months, I registered in the Community College of Philadelphia under the ESL program. And I passed the ESL program, and then I keep pursuing my education further and got the AS degree. I looked for the job because at that time I did not speak English good enough for an interview, so they turned me down. But you know, the Americans people, they are very nice, very polite. They said, "Oh, I'm looking for some more degree, higher degree. So I just put your resume here and keep it in the 6 months, and then we contact you if any position available." But I don't know at that time. That is the no, N-O. And I keep looking for the different job again, and they said a similar way, and I realized that, oh, this is the N-O. And I said to myself, hey, you want more degree? I go for more degree. And I go for bachelor degree. I went out to apply for job again, similar way. My pronunciation was bad. They don't understand me at all, or maybe just a little bit. And they polite, they say, they keep my resume for 6 months, and they are looking for further degree. I said to myself again, hey, you want more degree? I go for it. And I went to the St. Joseph for master degree. And then during that time, I met a nun. I asked the people around the church where I went to, I asked, please help me out. Teach me how to say, talk and pronounce English proper way so people can understand me. They keep polite and say, oh, we understand you. Finally, I told them, no, tell me the truth and be honest. You do not understand me, but you just polite and say you understand me. Please get someone, or you yourself can help me out to learn English. Finally, I met a nun, and she is speech therapy for kids. But she said, okay, I will help you out. And I learned with her for 6 months. And after 6 months, like I speak English now. That's
Hey,
marvelous.
Quinn.
Yes.
Hey, Quinn, I'm going to ask you a big favor, and don't tell the rest of the story, because we want people to actually watch the film.
Oh, okay. So
Right?
now I am I'm ended up in the Community College of Philadelphia, and I'm the assistant director, work study coordinator at Financial Aid Department. Thank you for listening to me. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's good.
Okay, Champ.
Hi, I am Champ Ensminger. I'm a filmmaker and editor based in Seattle, Washington. And the film Yai Nin is about my grandmother. She is a very spry 84-year-old Thai woman living in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And our family's claim to fame is a brand of Thai sausage called Nam Pinyo that's made in Chiang Mai. And it's basically a character study about her and where she's at with her life right now, being the last generation of people in our family who didn't migrate to or immigrate to the United States. And the reason that it exists is because I, like a lot of other people, learn about your grandparents through short visits, and especially in the context of being Thai American, it's just very brief visits during the holidays and things like that. And then as an adult, I moved to Chiang Mai on my own and spent a lot of time around her and recontextualized her as like a very industrious woman for her age. And she has like a lot of attitude and is kind of an inspiration for a lot of people that I met there, you know, friends that were introduced to her. They were like, she's awesome. You need to do a film about her or tell her story somehow. And so, yeah, and so the film is very much just kind of a day in the life of living above the factory and her trying to keep up with her kids through like multiple iPads in front of her all the time. She's very tech savvy. And it's supposed to be just very much like a visit with your grandparents or your auntie or whoever, you know, especially from your native culture. And in this case, my mom's side of the family, just kind of what culture you're really trying to keep connected with. So I'm very humbled to be here with everyone else who's part of this program. The Southeast Asian panel especially is very humbling, you know, very harrowing stories. And this is a very quiet story around a lot of very important stories that need to be spoken about. So thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you all for being here. Okay, so my first question, so the 3 shorts that are represented here today out of the 4 were all documentaries. So this is for the filmmakers. Why did you choose your subjects, and what was it like filming them and trying to draw like certain conversations with them? Anyone can start.
Okay, I'll jump in. As I mentioned, I'm on the board of the Philadelphia Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Along with several other people, came to the board, excuse me, wanted to put up a monument that was really dedicated to the service of both Vietnamese veterans and American Vietnam veterans, and wanted to put up a flag that showed that they fought side by side. After we went out, somebody that evening when we went out to celebrate that the monument was up said, how do we help the American people know what the Vietnam veterans did for us? And that was really the germ of how this started. But I think with most documentaries, what you find is where you start and where you end up are not necessarily the same. So we went in this with the idea that we would tell these really compelling stories, that it would give a perspective and maybe a thank you to Vietnam veterans in a way that just saying thank you for your service that an American's doing can't do. But what we learned was this was really a bond between the American Vietnam veterans and the Vietnamese people. So we actually have a section that we refer to as the Eternal Bond. Anne is now on the board of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Ed, who's not here today, was a friend of one of the board members, owns a wonderful restaurant that I hope opens again in Philadelphia. So it was interesting for me because when I went to do the interviews, I already knew some of the stories and I knew the people. So I think when you're doing a film and you're interviewing people, there's always that point of how far do you push to get the story across to your audience, and how far do you push that's pushing too far, that's making people uncomfortable. So I must say that although there were times that I felt like maybe I was close to that, Anne opened up, Quinn opened up, Ed opened up, Quinn's wife spoke as well. And then we have another community member who spoke, and they wanted to tell those stories. I think when you go back to speak to them in this, you might want to ask Anne about that, because I believe she found it a cathartic experience as well. So I'm going to stop talking and let somebody else have the floor.
Camp or Jolly?
I'll go just real quick. Thank you, Mercer. Melody, that's how you pronounce? Melody. Yeah, I think like for me and maybe Champ too, like our film subjects might be like already have that personal relationship before, like with us before we start filming. So like my intention of making the film was really out of this desire to make the global refugee crisis more concrete. Because there was like a huge wave of like all this situation that happened across the Mediterranean Ocean, and I myself included, right, on this very pretty much elitist campus, talk about it more as an abstract concept, and it's very far away, granted, and that's like how human beings are. So I really wanted to find a way to like educate myself and like how concrete these things that could be left unseen in like seemingly banal life of a Midwestern town. And I've known like subject for like 3 years, and the anecdote is really like my first year as an international student there. She just came up to me and like offered like her homemade cookings for me as a dining hall worker who usually doesn't do that. And it was a very beautiful moment of just breaking that boundaries for myself, because I think like coming from a much more like privileged background compared to like my subject Yen, even though we're both like Asian migrants, quote unquote. Also like An and Quinn here, like it's a very different kind of really background in coming to the States. Like, so I had this kind of boundaries of like, oh, I shouldn't be like kind of like I'm in no position of building a friendship with this person. I don't know if that makes sense, but I have this kind of like mindset. But she's just the one that opens up so much of her love to the students she meets. So it became very close. Like it's just really the easiest subject to work with to some extent, because I'm like, Yen, can I make a film about you? And Yen is like, sure, whatever you want. Yeah, so it's yeah, I got it easy, I think, in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of parallels with Mama Yen and my grandmother. Although, yeah, like their own histories are very different. And I guess I wanted to point the story towards my grandmother specifically because she is kind of holding the fort as far as our family being from Thailand, and she had no intention of ever immigrating with us. Like she'll visit for long periods of time, but it's very much kind of like I wanted to create something that was almost like a historical document for where our family has come from, and give a sort of like storytelling anchor to kind of that family history. And hopefully, you know, other people have been able to identify with it as far as thinking back to, you know, family who never moved. And as far as her opening up, I was surprised. I wasn't actually surprised how extroverted she ended up being, because I've been around her, and she's, you know, she was able to be very relaxed around me and our crew. And my mother was the person who interviewed her, and that was very much part of the process, was like having that familiarity with the person she was speaking to, so that way she gave as honest of answers as she could. That being said, she is a very reserved woman, and I'm sure there was a lot of like we only filmed for 3 days, and you really need to kind of really dig your heels into your subjects. And I'm sure everyone on the panel can kind of relate as far as hours and hours of pre-interviews, of casual conversation to really open up and get kind of like the more personal stories on paper and on camera. But she was able to, you know, ham it up for as long as she could. She was like our location scout for all the locations that we filmed at. We went with her driver to like this market and this temple, and she was like, okay, this thing is happening. My grandson and these guys are all gonna, you know, be here and film, and I hope that's okay, and, you know, like all this stuff. And yeah, because like I said, the short was very much built as like a day in the life with her. I have tremendous respect for documentarians and filmmakers who dig in for years and years and years with their subjects. I thankfully have spent the past 30 years around this woman, so I had that context. But yeah, I mean, we had a really good time. And again, it was a lot to do with her conversation between my mother and her, as far as like it being not just a film to share, but also the making of it was a sort of process that I wanted my family to go through.
So on the flip side, for our subjects from Journeys to Freedom, what was it like being filmed and reliving your past?
All right, I will start answering your question. It was very difficult for me to share, you know, my journey, my family journey to in search of freedom. It was we faced a lot of dangers at sea. I saw, you know, people dying, you know, bad experience. So to relive that experience and to tell, it was quite difficult for me to have to, like, you know, dig in the past and have to share with people. But I'll tell you, I have to I owe my thanks to Melody, that she made me tell my story, because I want everybody to know how difficult it was. Have to flee Vietnam, try to find freedom, run away from communism. At age 16, it wasn't easy. And I always want to tell people how the relationship the Vietnamese people and the American vets who were in Vietnam. And I want to share with people how appreciative we are to them. because even the American vet themselves don't really know how we, the Vietnamese people, feel about them. Because they always felt bad. Oh, they were in Vietnam during the war. Did they do us a favor, or did they hurt us or whatnot? But to be able to tell our story and to show our appreciation for the Vietnam vet and for the countries that are take all of the refugee in. It was an awesome experience, and I'll tell you, lifted a lot of weight off my chest to be able to share that. So thank you, Melody, and thank you for watching the films.
Do you mind if I ask Anne a quick question? Could you tell them what happened when your daughter saw the film? Because she did not know the story, right?
Yes, she was, of course they all have tears in their eyes. For a long time, when they were younger, I didn't have really a chance to tell them about it, but they actually sat down and saw the film and they said, "Mom, I did not know what you went through to get here." So that, in a way, give them, a little push in life, how they have to work hard to achieve and to appreciate what they have, to appreciate the freedom that they have in this country. So that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that because I had talked to my own father about his journey coming to America from after the Vietnam War, and that was like a very eye-opening experience for me because as like sons and daughters, you don't really think about what your parents have to go through, especially if it's like something that traumatic until you're much older. So yeah, it's like very inspiring to see you guys tell your stories on screen to like share with other people. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this Q&A, so I just want to ask real quick, try to make your answers brief to the filmmakers. How do you think your films contribute to the Southeast Asian experience? What does it reveal and what does it dispel, if anything?
Okay, go ahead. You want to go first?
No, I'm just like getting nervous because the clock is ticking. I think it does a lot more than there's this like kind of almost like a fear in approaching these topics because they're so heavy and they're so like it almost makes this it's a white guilt but also like non-Vietnamese refugee guilt almost. But I think when you really get to meet these people, they actually are people filled with love. And I think that's like what Mama Yen, I think a lot of the film here in the Journey to Freedom tries to expose is that like we're not that different if you let yourself be loved and be approached in that way.
Anyone else?
I think if there's the main takeaway for Yai Nin is mainly just to it's an affirmation of people's elders. I think it was an important conversation for me personally to have with my grandmother and talking about our own personal family history, and I hope it inspires people to keep a historical record, whether it's through film or through recordings of their own family history. And showing it at predominantly Asian American film festivals, a lot of people are just like, she reminds me of my Nana or my, and it's just kind of, I'm glad that it's something that we can kind of feel good about as far as, it doesn't touch on a whole lot of family trauma, which is something that we were careful of. But if anything, it's just been an affirmation for people when they watch it about their own families.
I think for me, it's two things. One is for the Asian community, it's exactly what you and Anne just talked about. It's allowing the next generation to really understand the travel, the journey, the track, as you put it, of how to get from where they were. And it's the perseverance. I mean, that's a lesson for everybody, no matter what your background is. And finally, when we previewed this for Vietnam veterans, it changed their view of what their legacy of the war was. The tears and the reaction was stunning. So I have to thank Anne and Quinn and all of the participants for that.
Thank you so much. That's all of our questions, and we're up at time. So yeah, thank you for being here today, and thank everyone who's tuning in, listening to this Q&A. If you haven't seen Southeast Asian Tracks yet, go to PAF.org and buy your ticket. And there's also another Q&A after this one in 30 minutes, so stay tuned if you want to watch that for Dream in Silence. And yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You say this kill, black and brown, and when will you talk about class in this story? The rest is allegory. Come together, unionize, see it through each other's eyes. No need to fight over supplies while workers save lives. They need protection too. What we gonna do? Organize our way through. And for those behind bars, we must fight hard. Global pandemic, endemic, systemic. No equality, no quality of life, of life.